Daryl. How are you?
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Doing great. So
Oh,
to
wait,
start,
hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't even respond to you. I literally asked you immediately how you are. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you? Like,
I'm doing great. We're doing great today, both of us.
mhm.
But it, I'm obsessed with this movie because I'm both a comedy nerd and someone who like The Most Dangerous Game warped my brain when I read it in high
Mhm.
school. And so a movie like this, which also has the added element of being directed by Jake Johnson, just is that much more interesting to me. And so for you though, what was the draw of a movie like this? Like where did you fall on that spectrum, or were you like the middle of that Venn diagram?
Yeah, no, like when I got the script from Jake, I read it and I was so intrigued because I was like, what is happening here? I'm like, this is really cool and interesting. And so like I read it front to back. And sometimes when you get a script, you're just like, oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna come back and read the rest of this later. But I was like, no, I page turner read it immediately and then immediately emailed him back and was like, yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
And I love it too because I just think like cutting to the family stuff is so funny to me because there are so many creepy elements within this movie, and then you have the more like outrageously funny side of it, which happens to be his family not believing him. And so for you, what is it like getting to kind of, be what I would label the like humor in a movie that is terrifying at times? 'Cause it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know where these people are coming from.
It was easy for me to be the humor because I am just literally that funny. That's what I do. That's my goal is to bring comedy. And if that's what you hire me for, that's what you're gonna get. So it was great that my character didn't have to do any of the like danger scenes or be around for any of the haunting elements of the movie. So but yeah, me bringing comedy, baby, that's what I do.
You're like, I got this. This is
That's right.
exactly what I'm looking for
That's what
in
I
a
was
role.
built for.
And like, so like, how much though did you get to? Because I just talked to Emily, and Emily said that they Jake was like, "Tell me what you guys would like change to make this more you," and she said she was the only one who sent like 5 pages of notes about
Yeah.
her character. So, what though for you was your approach to your character in this? Like, if you're not the 5 page notes, what kind of like input? You said you bring the humor, but like, what was your approach to this?
Sure. Yeah. No, Emily definitely sent notes. I believe she CC'd all of us, so we all knew where she was going to be. But yeah, no, it was just like, for me, it's like, all right, let's get what's on the page. I want you to be happy what's there. And then, okay, let's play around with it and see what we can get. So I'm like, let's do it off the cuff. Like, let's do this joke. Let's try it this way. I'm going to do it this way, And so that's just how, I come from like the improv and UCB background. So anytime there's an opportunity to play and do improv, I'm here for it.
I love that as a former UCBA intern. I love to hear it.
Right
But
on.
like, I truly do like, I'm obsessed with this movie for a number of reasons, but I do love how involved Jake Johnson is in every single kind of aspect of it. When you're working with an actor who is also, behind the camera, wrote on it, and did all these different elements to bring this to life, how does that change the dynamic on set, or does it make it more freeing because he's so involved with all of it, or is it more daunting to know that he has to then turn around, watch everything, and then come give you notes after?
This was the first opportunity I had to work with someone who was directing, wrote it, and also starring in it. So I didn't have any kind of expectations going into it, what it was going to be like. So being there, and with the type of person that Jake is, he's very assuring and comforting and like a real person. So you could talk to him and say, hey, what is this, what does this feel like to you? And it's a very collaborative effort, but he definitely knew what he wanted because he wrote it. So it's like a singular voice. Well, a lot of times when you're dealing with projects, there's a writer, there's a director, and there's all the stars, and they're all separate people. So there's all these different cooks in the kitchen. But this time I felt like there was one chef and he was ratatouille and we was up in there doing the thing, and it was easy. It was just so much fun. It was super easy.
Like now I want to see who Remy is on the top of Jake Johnson's head. Like Who is Remy the mouse controlling Jake Johnson? And is it just Spider-Man? And that's
It's
why he's
Zoe
so good at
Deschanel. It's Zoe.
yeah, that no notes. That's perfect. That's my new headcanon now. Uh, but I like with this movie, like I said to Eduardo and Emily, like being in the Venn diagram of everything makes it so interesting to me, made me instantly invested. But I do like that it feels very niche, but it feels like it's also going to have a wider appeal to the larger audience. What do you think about this movie that does have so many specific elements for like people to kind of nerd out over? What makes it still so universal for like audiences to love? Because it does have that feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just relatable. I think with the story at hand is like, what happens when your life is like not going the way you wanted it to, and you felt like you were in a rut? Would you try something maybe dangerous, or would you try something really new, something outside of your comfort zone to break you out of like old habits? And I think sometimes, with this, with the whole world coming out of the post pandemic, a lot of us got caught up in the whole like 2 years of being at home and like entrapped and not knowing what to do. I think a lot of people would have taken a risk to do something that was interesting and a little bit scary, and like, okay, I think I can relate to that. So I think it has such a relatable appeal post, the whole pandemic life.
It is outrageous, not only just because the concept of like him being hunted on the black market
Yeah.
show with it, like or dark web show that
Yeah.
no one thinks it actually exists, but it just has all of these like elements to it. Like he goes and like hires the unhoused man to be his like bodyguard, and he also leaves him at one point. Like I do love all these different elements. For you, what was the most fun moment for you to get to film? Because out of all of these insane things, I think there's just so many fun things.
I really do think I know it's gonna sound like an easy answer, but it was the bathroom scene. It was just we had just so much fun shooting that moment and like playing around with a couple different things, and like I feel like one of my goals on set is to try to get the entire crew to crack, and I'm very good at achieving that. And so it's fun for me. I love it. I love making everybody laugh. So that's what I would, like I said, that's what I was built for. That's what I was put here for, is to make everybody laugh. And I got the crew to laugh during takes. I was amazed. I was very happy.
That's what happens when you bring the comedy.
That's
You
right.
get to you break them during the bathrooms.
It's so funny because I've like worked with actors who said, "Oh, I've never broken before." I was like, "Challenge taken." That is now my job.
For last quick question, I always like to ask this because I think it gives a perspective of like how people make the movie and how they feel. What do you hope audiences take away when they get to see science finally?
I just really hope people come in ready to go on a really fun ride, and then just enjoy what Jake has put together for you, because it's really an interesting project. It's a really interesting film, and then to actually like see on screen what was written on the script, you're just like, that doesn't happen all the time in movies. A lot of times you read a script and you're like, oh, this is going to be great, and then you see the movie and you're like, I didn't know we shot that. So seeing the final product of Jake's hard work and the culmination of all of it, it was great. So I just really hope people come ready to enjoy some fun, have some good time, eat some popcorn, and enjoy the movie at home.
Very excited for people to get to see it. I loved it a lot. So thank you so much for talking with me today.
Of course.